California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer & Gerson at 510-345-23. BoxerLaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer & Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
The Warriors and Chase Center are teaming up with DoorDash to pass the plate and fight food waste and food insecurity one event at a time. Through the Pass the Plate program, all prepared and unserved food from Chase Center events is safely packaged and delivered to local nonprofits who work with people experiencing food insecurity. 40,000 meals and counting have already been donated. To learn more, visit chasecenter.com/passtheplate.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Hey, Stephen Curry, it's game day, and you know what that means.
That you're going to talk like an announcer all day long?
Yes, and fans get 10% cash back in arena or online at Warriors Shop by using Rakuten.
That is pretty exciting.
Cash back on Warriors gear is exciting, Stephen Curry.
I think they know it's me.
Good point. We just need to tell them the website.
Rakuten.com/Warriors. RAKUTEN.com/Warriors.
Dub Nation, it's time. Time to lock in. Time for that undeniable energy.
Bang! Steph Curry does it again!
Time to bring your A game.
What defense by Golden State!
Time to learn from our past.
Redemption for Golden State!
Time to build for our future.
Trace Jackson Davis. Oh!
Time to show up for the team that's shown out.
Let's go all out tonight, Dub Nation.
The Warriors win it!
The time is now. Get your tickets now at Warriors.com.
Dub Nation, this is Brandon Pajemski. You are listening to the Warriors Radio Network presented by United Airlines.
13 missed free throws. The Warriors made 23, which means $11,500 will be donated to the Warriors Community Foundation, benefiting education-focused nonprofits in and around the Bay Area. It's all part of the Free Throws for Futures program, powered by the PG&E Corporation. Bucks were led by Kyle Kuzma, 22 points. Damian Lillard, 16 points on 18 shots. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 20 points and 3 steals. The homestand wraps up Thursday versus Toronto, 6:30 with the airtime. Good night from San Francisco. Warriors 104, Bucks 93.
Come into Freeman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill March 28th through March 30th for their once-yearly Red Tag clearance sale. Take advantage of factory direct prices, one-of-a-kind opportunities, special pricing on floor models and convenient financing, and save on new appliances from trusted brands like Miele, Bosch, Electrolux, LG, and Maytag. Visit Freeman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill for their Red Tag clearance sale March 28th through March 30th for the best time to save on new appliances for your home.
AM/PM is about to change things forever. Introducing the new AM/PM Taco 2-Pack. Available in 2 unique flavors, shredded chicken and slow-cooked carnitas. New, sleek, pillowy tortilla case wraps around a protein-packed core brought to life by our flavor-enhancing 6-hour slow-cooking process to deliver all-day value.
New Taco 2-Packs, only at AM/PM and only $5. AM/PM, too much good stuff. Plus tax where applicable. Prices and participation may vary. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so we get on the car lot. Don't look anyone in the eye. Don't smile. Stand right next to me. This is serious business.
But Dad...
I know, it's tough. But in the game of car buying, we gotta play it smart.
Dad, there are no games. CarMax has upfront pricing. The price we saw online is the price we get.
Oh, okay. I guess we can smile.
Shop quality certified cars with upfront pricing at CarMax.com.
Kia is the official automotive partner of the NBA. And we think about basketball a lot. The plays, the swagger, the glory, the game. And how we can elevate our own game with capability that takes us to another level. And ground clearance that propels us even higher. The 3-row 2025 Kia Telluride X-Line all-wheel drive. Kia, official vehicle partner of the Golden State Warriors. Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Limited inventory available.
Say you're a coach in Chase Center and need to draw up a last-second play. Or you're a fan in Section 212 craving nachos. Well, Google Cloud AI can help with both. The Warriors are using Google Cloud AI to break down every move on the court, helping coaches game plan. And for fans, the same AI powers the mobile app, giving you personalized content, highlights, and yes, nachos, ordered from your phone. With AI, you're always in the game, even off the court. Google Cloud, the official AI partner of the Golden State Warriors.
Hey, Stephen Curry, it's game day, and you know what that means.
That you're going to talk like an announcer all day long?
Yes, and fans get 10% cash back in arena or online at Warriors Shop by using Rakuten.
That is pretty exciting.
Cash back on Warriors gear is exciting, Stephen Curry.
I think they know it's me.
Good point. We just need to tell them the website.
Rakuten.com/Warriors. RAKUTEN.com/Warriors.
Thanks for showing up, Dub Nation. Nothing beats catching your Warriors IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Warriors at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Warriors and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Warriors tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Dub Nation.
Takes a free. Oh, my goodness. Curry. Just drop the mic and get it over with.
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-WHO.
Don't you wish you were here? Butler with the dribble up top. Moves it on Trent Jr. Stops. Dishes Podziemski. Topside three. Knocked it down. 11-point lead with 1:08 to go in the game.
Huge shot by Brandon Podziemski down the stretch. That was an 8-0 run led by Podziemski and Jimmy Butler and GP2 that sealed the win for the Warriors. Without Steph, they knock off Giannis and the Bucks 104-93, and they make it a whole lot easier for all of us to forget about what happened last night here at Chase Center, because last night was a disaster, but the Warriors follow it up by handing the Bucks a disaster of their own. What a nice win for the Warriors tonight. 104-93 is the final. And welcome into Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you. Excited about this show today because we have so much to talk about, and I'm doing it live from Splash, as always. Splash at Thrive City, the newest sports bar and restaurant in Thrive City, just outside of Chase Center on the west side of the arena. If you're in the area, stop by, grab yourself a drink before they close. This is the best spot to watch a game, watch multiple games. Speaking of maybe the NCAA tournament coming up, can't think of a better spot in the city to watch sporting events than here at Splash. And if you're in the area, stop by and say what's up. We got plenty to get into tonight. And, of course, as always, we're taking your calls and your texts and your comments on YouTube. You can join the conversation, 888-957-9570. That's the number to call and to text. And I also have our YouTube chat up, youtube.com/957 The Game, the 925, the 510, the 408, the 707. Shout out to the 707. Say it backwards, already tuning and chiming in on our text line. And shout out to Theodore, to Empire, to Zick, to Bamboo, to Lev, to a number of others chiming in on our YouTube chat as well. Appreciate all the interaction. I see a Kevin, I see a Joseph as well. Well, where do we start? Because this was a game of runs. The Warriors started well, which was great to see after what happened last night. The Warriors, with basically a full team other than Podziemski, came in last night against a shorthanded Nuggets team and looked like they just woke up after a nap. They were sluggish. They were lazy. They were allowing Denver to get open look after open look. Denver was running and beating them in the fast break over and over again. The Warriors were late on rotations. It happened over and over and over again. Tonight, the Warriors started hot, and it was good to see. And it really started on the defensive end. That's how the Warriors built themselves a lead at halftime. They were up by 17 at one point in the first half. They led 52-35. Milwaukee was just shooting 32% from the field at that point. They were 4 of 19 from downtown. It was a great defensive performance for the Warriors. And then when they needed some offense without Steph Curry, they found a way. And that way, there was some clutch shooting. GP2 deserves a shout-out. He made a couple of big threes, including one in the fourth quarter when the Warriors' offense was really kind of stuck in the mud. And Brandon Podziemski made a couple of big threes in the final couple of minutes to help seal this Warriors win. But really, the force behind everything the Warriors did on offense in the second half was Jimmy Butler. And I think back to what Jimmy Butler said post-game on Saturday when the Warriors beat the Knicks in a ground-and-pound affair, right? A slugfest, a defensive battle. And Jimmy Butler, and in fact, I think we have the sound ready, Cam. Jimmy Butler, post-game on Saturday, when asked about his scoring and how he kind of senses the moment, here's what Jimmy Butler said post-game on Saturday about when he feels it's necessary for him to score. Here's Jimmy Butler.
I'm not just a scorer. I can score whenever I want to. I can shoot the toughest of toughest shots if I wanted to, and nobody's ever going to say anything. But I want to get everybody involved. I want to get guys in their spots. And when it's my time, you'll know that it's my time. But until then, we're going to pass the ball to the open man, get my guys some jumpers, get them out in transition, and we're going to keep winning.
I mean, that is a bar by Jimmy Butler. Quote, when it's my time, you'll know that it's my time. And guess what? I think everybody in the arena tonight knew that it was Jimmy's time. Jimmy, let's go back to this moment. Warriors down 6 late third quarter, 76-70. It was essentially at the tail end of a crazy Milwaukee run. Milwaukee went on a 30-8 run over the middle, 8.5 minutes of the third quarter. The Warriors had a pretty big lead. They led by 16, 62-46, 9.5 to go in the third quarter. Then Milwaukee on a 30-8 run over the next 8.5. The Warriors turned the ball over 10 times in the third quarter. 10 times in a single quarter. You know how difficult that is to do? The Warriors, that might have been one of the Warriors' worst quarters of the season, that third quarter. But they turned it around in the final 45 seconds because down 6, 76-70, the Warriors went on an 8-0 run to close out that third quarter and take a 2-point lead going into the fourth. And it was a Jimmy Butler savvy play, drawing a foul on a 3-point shot in the final couple of seconds. He made all 3 free throws. But before that moment, Jimmy Butler had 12 points. So we're talking about with 2 seconds left in the third quarter, Jimmy Butler had 12 points. He finishes with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. He was 6 of 13 from the field, 11 of 11 from the free throw line. He hit those 3 free throws to close out the third quarter to give the Warriors a lead. Also, Buddy Hield deserves a shout-out, had a steal and a 3 in transition to begin that 8-0 run to close the third quarter for the Warriors. But Jimmy Butler's 3 free throws were huge. He then got fouled on a deep 2, nearly a 4-point play. Got the and one, made the free throw, a 3-point play. His toe was on the line. Had a crazy fading jumper across the lane as he drove from left to right. Got that one to go. And then just relentlessly got to the free throw line to help build the Warriors a lead. They went on a 16-0 run spanning quarters 3 and 4. But then the offense, they kind of got stuck in the mud again. The Warriors were stuck at 96 points from the 5:40 mark of the fourth quarter to the 2:20 mark. They did not score over about 3 minutes and 20 seconds of basketball down the stretch, and their lead dwindled all the way down to the Warriors only up by, I believe they won an 8-0 run to close the game, and they won by 9. They were up by 1. They won by 11. They were up by 3. It was 96-93 Warriors, and the 8-0 run closed it out. But while Jimmy did not score any of the 8 points during that 8-0 run to close out the basketball game, he was the engine that drove it all. The Jimmy isolation offense wasn't working down the stretch. The Milwaukee Bucks had kind of figured it out, and they were sending doubles his way. So what was the adjustment by the Warriors? It was Jimmy going back to his roots, right? You just heard what Jimmy said. Well, you'll know it's my time. When it's my time, you'll know it. I like to get others involved, and I'm always going to make the right play. When I have to score, I will score. And he did that late in the third and for the majority of the fourth quarter. But then when doubles are sent his way and he doesn't have a good look, he is always going to make the right play. So what do the Warriors do? After being stuck at 96 points, the lead only down to 3, you haven't scored in over 3 minutes of basketball. What do? You run Jimmy pick and roll. Jimmy the ball handler. Draymond comes up to set the screen. Jimmy kicks it off to Draymond on the roll. Help comes from the right wing. Draymond does what he does best. Kicks it to Podziemski on the right wing. Open 3, cash, big shot, lead up to 6. Warriors then get a stop. Then what do? They run a Jimmy pick and roll again, this time with GP2. GP2 sets the screen for Jimmy on the right wing. Dame switches on to Jimmy. In the words of Shaquille O'Neal, that's barbecue chicken, right? Jimmy knows he can get past Dame, but what does he do? He drives, gets past him, draws the defense, dumps it off the GP2 on the roll, wide open, kind of on the right block, an easy push shot, puts it up and in. Warriors lead is 8. They go and get another stop. Then what happens? Jimmy kills a lot of clock, as the veteran savvy move is. He drives past his defender, kicks it back to Podziemski, wide open top of the key 3, and he hits it. This was the Jimmy Butler game. He did a little bit of everything. He didn't score 30, right? 24 points, nearly a triple-double for Jimmy Butler in this one. Those 24 points plus 8 rebounds and 10 assists. He got those 24 points at only 13 field goal attempts, 11 of 11 from the free throw line. He was amazing in this basketball game, and particularly in the second half and in the fourth quarter. And without Steph, he was asked to play nearly every second. In fact, he did play every second of the fourth quarter, all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter for Jimmy Butler. That's not an easy thing to do. And he played 9 minutes and 10 seconds in the third quarter. So he played 21 minutes and 10 seconds of 24 possible minutes in the second half. And he was the best player on the floor the entire second half. Without him tonight, the Warriors probably lose this game by 20. That's how big he was. But this is not to say that it was a one-man show. Jimmy was great, but he had a lot of help. Podziemski in his first game back. How good was Brandon Podziemski? 17 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 4 of 7 from downtown. His first game also had 7 rebounds, only turned the ball over twice in nearly 30 minutes. He missed 5 full games, really 6 games. Remember, he played the tail end of that road trip in Brooklyn, but he played only like 45 seconds before having to check out with the back injury that kept him out for the ensuing 5 games. He's essentially missed 6 full games, and he comes back in his return and doesn't miss a beat. 6 of 10 from the field, 4 of 7 from downtown, and there were a lot of Warriors that made big shots. Buddy Hield hit that one late in the third quarter. Gary Payton II, again making his threes, made 2 more today, one of which was a huge one in the fourth quarter, but maybe the 2 biggest shots that a Warrior hit tonight. Brandon Podziemski, those threes that were a big part of that 8-0 Warrior run to seal this basketball game. The Warriors lose this game without Podziemski as well. He was awesome in this game. Quentin Post didn't do a ton late in the basketball game. He did hit 1 big 3 in the second half, but 14 points in this one, 5 of 10 from the field, 4 of 9 from downtown. He was really, really important in this one as well. I think we can talk about Draymond Green, and you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do with Draymond Green here? I rarely do this, and I shouldn't do this. I'm giving into a Twitter troll, and I know I shouldn't. This is bad form by me. But I got tweeted at by some troll. I just hope that they're a troll, because if this is a real opinion that anybody has based on what they watched on the court today, I'm praying for you. This is some random person on Twitter, and I know that this is not what the majority of Warrior fans feel. It doesn't have a profile picture. That's how you know they're a troll. I got this tweeted at me today during the course of this basketball game. Draymond, this is a quote that was tweeted at me. Draymond Green is once again a waste of space. Got carried by his teammates once again. 3 points in 36 minutes. If they bench him or give him less court time, this team will do better. Wow, I cannot think of a worse take after watching a basketball game than that one. Draymond Green maybe just played the best defensive game I've seen anyone play on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Draymond Green was amazing in this basketball game. He could have scored 0 points and been 0 for 10 from the field, and he would have been an incredible positive. Do you know who led the Warriors in plus-minus tonight in this basketball game? Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. They were both a plus 14. Draymond Green was amazing. Giannis scored 20 points. It took him 16 shots to do that. 5 of 16 from the field. You know how difficult it is to do that against Giannis Antetokounmpo? There is very few people on the planet that can match up with Giannis physically. And oh, by the way, Draymond is giving up like 5 or 6 inches on Giannis, and he absolutely shut him down. 20 points on 5 of 16 from the field for Giannis. That is as close as anyone can ever come to shutting Giannis down. 10 of his 20 points came from the free throw line. And yeah, he had 9 rebounds and 7 assists. Draymond made him a passer, and I cannot think of any better way to defend Giannis than get to the point where he feels like he has to pass more. Draymond was amazing in this basketball game, and he could have had the worst offensive game of his career, and he would have had a positive impact on this basketball game. That's how good he was defensively. Draymond Green was awesome in this game, and I will absolutely come for anybody who says otherwise. The 925 chiming in on the text line at 925. I agree with you. Draymond is the best defender in my lifetime. I am right there with you. In terms of versatility, Draymond Green is the best defender that I have seen in my lifetime. Giannis was shut down in this game. 5 of 16 from the field and 10 of 15 from the free throw line. I know Giannis lives at the free throw line at times, but man, was Draymond awesome in this basketball game. And the Warriors' defense as a whole was really darn good as well. Milwaukee just 39% from the field, and they only score 93 points in this basketball game. And oh, by the way, when it mattered the most, the fourth quarter, the Warriors controlled this, and they played their best defensively in the fourth quarter. 17 points. 17 points in the fourth quarter for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm seeing it come in on our YouTube chat. Shout out to Carson. I also see it on our text line as well. And I'm thinking the same exact thing. Draymond Green is the defensive player of the year this year in my mind. And this voting is always so wonky because, like, a lot of these awards, whether it's DPOY or whether it's MVP, you have to be on a winning team. Like, no one is going to give the DPOY, especially not the MVP, but even the DPOY, like, if you're not a playoff team, you're not going to get a lot of these end-of-season awards. You might get it maybe if you're, like, in the running for most improved player, but for some of those, like, the best in a particular aspect of the game, you have to be on a winning team. And since the Warriors Since the Warriors have started winning basketball games, Draymond has kind of climbed up those rankings. He's the defensive player of the year in my mind. Now, Wemby getting hurt and missing the season and not being eligible for the award is a big part of it. If Wemby's healthy and he plays enough games to qualify, he's going to win the DPOY like every year of his career. That's how much of a unicorn that he is. Draymond is a unicorn in a different way. He doesn't do it with his size and his insane length, although for a guy his size, he is pretty darn long. He does it with the incredible versatility and the genius that is his basketball mind, and he did as good of a job as anyone I've ever seen on Giannis. He was amazing in this basketball game. All right, Warriors win Final score over the Bucks, 104-93. Huge win that makes us forget a little bit about what happened last night. The Warriors, by the way, now without Steph, who did not play in this game again, 7-3 without Steph this year. That is amazing. 7-3 without Steph are the Warriors this season. The win pushes them back into 6th by themselves in the Western Conference. And it was a big win because if the Warriors had lost this game, they would be sitting in 8th right now. Instead, they're 6th. Because what happened down in LA today, the Clippers beat the league best Cavaliers. Clippers win 132-119. The Clippers beat the Cavs 132-119. If the Warriors had lost, they'd have the same record as the Clippers, and because the Clippers have the tiebreaker, they would be ahead of the Warriors. Warriors would be in 8th if they had lost this game. Instead, they're sitting a half game up on Minnesota in 6th. That's how important this game was here tonight. It's Warriors wrap up here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you. Let's go out to the phone lines. 888-957-9570. If you want to join the conversation, Mr. Caleb is standing by in Livermore. Mr. Caleb, what's up? You're on Warriors wrap up. It's Mark Randy with you on 95.7 The Game. What's up, Mr. Caleb?
What's going on, Mark, man? You gonna see you at the restaurant? You gonna give me a plate?
What's up?
Are you at where you at? Because I watched it on YouTube. Were you at like a restaurant or something?
I'm at Splash at Thrive City, man, the newest sports bar right outside of Chase Center.
You gonna give me a plate?
If you come by, man.
But look, man, no, I agree with you about talking about Draymond. I think it's a short list when it comes to defensive players of the year. Draymond's in it. Also, the guy Dyson Daniels, I think he's excellent. Evan Mobley is up there. I even like the dude from Portland. I forget his first name, but Kamara is up there as well. But
yeah, Tumani Kamara.
What Draymond did tonight defensively, yeah, he's great. But yeah, what Draymond did defensively tonight, it was outstanding. And what he's doing still at 35, 36 years old. It's incredible, man. But that goes to show you, man, he is one of the best defensive players of this generation for sure.
Yeah, he is. And appreciate the call, Mr. Caleb. Yeah, and it's Mark Randy with you here on a Warriors wrap-up on 95.7 The Game. Draymond was amazing in this game. And Draymond's impact on the game goes so much deeper than the box score. Jimmy Butler was amazing in this basketball game. I could make the case to you that Draymond Green was the most impactful Warrior tonight. It's not because of anything that he did on offense. Although, he's still a positive for you offensively, even if he's not making his shots because of what he does as a distributor and as a ball handler and in getting the Warriors into their sets. I think it's easier to see Draymond's impact when Steph is out there with them because no one understands Steph quite like Draymond. But his impact on Giannis, they were essentially mirroring his minutes. There was only a couple of minutes throughout this game where Dre was not on the floor when Giannis was. For the most part, Giannis is on the floor, Draymond's on the floor, and Draymond's guarding him. And Giannis had to struggle to get 20 points in this game. It was an amazing, amazing performance by Draymond. I thought he was absolutely incredible in this one. And there's so much credit to go around in this Warrior win. Again, I was going through it and I got distracted by that Draymond conversation, and I felt like I had to fire back at that troll, that brain-dead troll who tweeted at me, and I don't want to give him any more airtime, but that's just how incredibly, frankly, stupid a take like that is. Draymond was awesome in this game. Jimmy Butler was awesome in this game. Brandon Pajemski was awesome in this game. Buddy Hield deserves a lot of love for what he did in this game as well. Warriors down 6, late third quarter. Down 6, late third quarter. Bucks are in the middle of a 30-8 run. The Warriors might have just played their worst 10 minutes of the season. And considering how ugly and how bad they've been at times, that's saying something. The Warriors committed 10 turnovers in the third quarter. Everything is going wrong for the Warriors. They're down 6, final minute, Bucks have the ball. You're thinking, this might be a double-digit deficit going into the fourth quarter. And then what happens? Hield with a steal, and I mean, God love Buddy Hield. To have his confidence for a day, my life would be entirely different. He is going through a weird season where he's either like scalding hot or he can't hit the broadside of a barn. And tonight he was good. He finishes this game 5 for 7 from the field, 4 for 6 from downtown. Steals the ball, and he's kind of in semi-transition. If he really pushes, he might be able to get a look in the rim or in the paint, or maybe before the defense gets set, he finds a cutter and they get a bucket down low. He pulls in transition from the right wing, and it's not wide open. There's a closeout defender coming, and he makes it. Stops the Milwaukee run. Warriors back within 3. That sparks the 8-0 run to close the third, which turned in to an 8-0 run to begin the fourth. The Warriors went on a 16-0 run spanning the 2 quarters, and it began with Buddy Hield. So shout out to Buddy Hield. He deserves love for his performance in this game as well. GP2 with some really, really clutch buckets. He scored 8 off the bench. And GP2, ho-hum, a +7 in the plus-minus in his 17.5 minutes today. He was really big at certain points down the stretch of this basketball game as well. I thought Quentin Post was really good in this game, specifically in the first half. He hit a couple of threes very early, got the Warriors off to the hot start, and I think the Bucks kind of figured out how to take Quentin Post out of the game in the second half, although Post did hit a big 3. I believe it was early in the fourth quarter when the Warriors offense kind of went into a little bit of a slump. But essentially what the Warriors were doing was they were hiding Quentin Post on Kyle Kuzma in the first half. And Milwaukee did not know what to do with it. They were just using Kyle Kuzma as a spot-up shooter, and the Warriors were fine with Quentin Post defending that. If I'm the Bucks and I see Quentin Post, and this is no disrespect to Quentin Post, it's the reality of a relatively slow-footed 7-footer on a wing like Kyle Kuzma. If I see that matchup, I am giving the ball to Kuzma and telling him, drive the ball past Quentin Post and get to the hoop. They refused to do that for whatever reason. As a result, the Warriors successfully could kind of hide Quentin Post on Kyle Kuzma, which allowed them to play Quentin Post in the first half when he was great offensively. The Bucks kind of figured it out in the second half, and Kuzma got going, and he hit a number of big threes in that third quarter, part of that 30-8 run. But if it wasn't for the Bucks' inability to find a way to attack Quentin Post in the first half, the Warriors might have lost this game. So great on the Warriors and Quentin Post specifically to capitalize on that, because again, without that and without Quentin Post's contribution offensively, the Warriors probably lose this basketball game. That's how important Quentin Post was in this one as well. 888-957-9570. It's Mark Randy with you here on Warriors Wrap Up. I'm live from Splash at Thrive City, right outside of Chase Center on the west side of the arena. If you are leaving Chase, if you're in the area, you can stop by, grab yourself something to drink, and this is a great spot to watch tournament action beginning, I guess technically today and tomorrow with the first 4, but really beginning in earnest on Thursday. I'll be here on Thursday with Mark Willard for the Willard and Dib Show, 2 to 6. We'll be hosting our show here on Thursday, so you can stop by then as well and take in all the tournament action. It should be a lot of fun coming up on Thursday, live from Splash here at Thrive City, and that's where I am tonight here for Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7, the game after the Warriors' 104-93 win. Let's go back out to the phone lines, 888-957-9570. Hank was at Chase Center, and he wants to join the conversation. What's up, Hank? You're on 95.7 the game. How you doing?
Doing good. What a game. Thank God for Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green and Pods, but I disagree about Quentin Post. That guy was like trying to blow the game for us in the third and fourth quarter. He was guarding Brooks Lopez. I think he raised his hands above his hips once in the fourth quarter, thank God. Otherwise, he was just looking into his eyes as Lopez shot above him multiple times. And then the second guy was Jonathan Kuminga. Oh, my God, he needed to be on the bench like in the third quarter and never coming off of it in the fourth quarter. He was awful.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Hank. I think Quentin Post, it's kind of what I was getting at. Post was really, really important in the first half. I think the Bucks kind of figured it out. And there was one moment, actually I think it was Guy Santos, but the moment that I'm thinking of, but there was also a situation where Post, I think a little late on a closeout to Brooke Lopez from three-point land, And Brook Lopez has transformed his game. He's going to shoot a three or he's going to be around the rim. That is it. He catches the ball from up top of the key, beyond the three-point line. You close out hard. You force Brook Lopez to put the ball on the floor. There was a moment where Guy Santos kind of with a hesitant closeout, and I also saw that a couple of times from Quentin Post. But Post offensively was really important for this Warrior team in the first half. That changed, I think, a little bit in the second half. And Hank, about Jonathan Kuminga, I agree with you. I thought this was Kuminga's, and for the most part, he's been very good since he returned from his injury. This was his fourth game. I think by a mile, this was his worst game. He seemed hesitant. He committed a handful of turnovers. His turnovers were a big part of the 30-8 Milwaukee run in the third quarter. And there was one particular moment, one particular stretch of play where it felt like Jimmy Butler was going to pull him aside and have a talking to. When Kuminga was trying to get free under the basket, Warriors are on offense, trying to get free from his defender. It was Gary Trent Jr., and he kind of hooks him and swings him around and throws him to the floor. Offensive foul ultimately called for a flagrant. Jimmy Butler is kind of coming off of a motion around Jonathan Kuminga, and the second that Kuminga kind of rips Gary Trent to the ground, Jimmy Butler reacts aggressively, with his hands up. It's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Next possession has the ball in the left wing. Kuminga does, with Jimmy Butler in the left corner. Kuminga, a little bit of indecision, not sure what he's doing. Pressure is in his face. He has his dribble, doesn't use it, ultimately shuffles his pivot foot, called for a travel. Turnovers on consecutive possessions. He finished with only those 2 turnovers, so at least in terms of taking care of the ball, he was good the rest of the game. But he just never quite fit into the flow of the offense. Now, I am going to defend Jonathan Kuminga here for a moment, because what I witnessed with Jonathan Kuminga tonight, and specifically what the Warriors were asking of Kuminga, it almost felt like the Warriors' experience pre-Jimmy Butler in the non-Steph minutes. So Steph's out tonight, and the way that my mind works, I don't know if this is how your mind works, but the way my mind works, when Steph is out, the Jimmy Butler minutes suddenly become like the Steph minutes, right? You feel decent about your opportunities or your chances in the Jimmy Butler minutes, right? In the Steph Curry minutes. But when Jimmy is off the floor, what do the Warriors do? And at least in the first half, what the Warriors' plan was, all right, JK, when Jimmy's out, and again, there's no Steph tonight, when Jimmy's out, so on the non-Steph and non-Jimmy minutes, JK, this is your time to shine. And it did not work. Now, maybe that's an unfair burden to put on Jonathan Kuminga because it's only his fourth game back. I think there's some truth to that. Maybe that shouldn't be the expectation or the responsibility put on this guy's plate at this stage of his return from 2 months away from basketball, right? There's some conversation to be had there, but it flatly did not work. And I know plus-minus is a flawed statistic. There was one Warrior with a negative plus-minus in this game, and it was Jonathan Kuminga. Minus 11 in 23 minutes and 47 seconds. Now, he scored 10 points. He was in double figures, only 2 of 10 from the field. What I will say is Kuminga was eager and active and able to get to the free throw line, and he made all 6 of his free throws. That was important. But in a game in which you win by 11, there's one player that was a negative in the plus-minus, and there was actually 2. Guy Santos also a minus 6, but Kuminga a minus 11. Again, that plus-minus in a single game is a flawed statistic, but I think it shows a couple of things. One, the Warriors were asking Kuminga to be the guy and to be the leader, in at least offensively, in the non-Jimmy Butler minutes, which also tonight were always non-Steph minutes. That was the ask of him, and he was not able to fulfill that ask. Now, we can have all of our qualms with Steve Kerr if we don't feel like that's a fair ask, but considering what the Warriors' other options are offensively, there weren't a ton others. Now, I'm eager to see how Kuminga fills into that role a little bit later on once he gets his sea legs back under him. But at least as of right now, at least as of tonight, he didn't quite fit the bill there. He didn't quite fit the bill in that one tonight. He was really one of the only negatives for the Warriors in this game. But they ultimately came away with the win, and they did it without Steph. They're now 7-3 without Steph. There is so many positives that we can talk about, but we do have to address the Jonathan Kuminga game tonight because it was not pretty. There's no doubt it was not pretty. I get the sense, and I can feel this if I put myself in Kuminga's shoes. He's being asked to do one thing one night, and he did. When he returned, and his first game back, I believe that was against the Kings, right? And he had 18 points and was hitting almost everything that he took, and only one was a three-pointer, and it was late in the shot clock. He was handed a grenade, had to put it up. He was filling a role where, as a cutter, as an offensive rebounder, as someone working off of Jimmy Butler's drives and working off of the attention that Steph demands. That's one thing, and it's easy, at least easier than what he was asked to do tonight, which is when you are the focal point of the opposing team's defense, can you still be an efficient scorer? And tonight, this is not like me saying I don't think Kuminga can ever be that. We've seen him be that. But the role and what he's being asked to do on any given night changes. He has to be able to adapt to that, and tonight he wasn't. But I think he'll be okay. This is only his fourth game back. Again, this is not some commentary on who I think he's going to be in the NBA as a player in his entire career. This is just simply tonight, he was not very good, and that's okay. The Warriors survived and they got the win, and they're going to need JK down the stretch. So this is a learning experience for Jonathan Kuminga. All right, time for a break here on Warriors Wrap-Up. Mark Randy with you. We'll go back out to the phone lines when we come back. Before I do get on out of here for this quick commercial break, I did want to let you know that March is National Reading Month, and the Golden State Warriors are celebrating by hosting surprise book drops at local schools. As part of the Warriors Read to Achieve program presented by Ross Stores, Warriors alum Festus Ezeli will surprise students at Rosa Parks and Horace Mann Elementary Schools by donating and reading books from female authors. Again, March is National Reading Month, and the Warriors are celebrating by hosting surprise book drops at local schools. Great stuff from the Golden State Warriors. All right, time for a break here on Warriors Wrap Up. More time for your calls, your texts, and your comments on our YouTube chat. Shout out to Arnell, to Uncle Looney, to Theodore, to Bamboo, to Man, to Sophia, to Zick, to Jay, to a bunch of you, to Carlos. I see all of you. I'll take a look at your comments and more during this commercial break, and more coming up when we return, including the Steve Kerr post-game press conference. What did he have to say about this Warrior win? We'll dive into that when we return. The Warriors beat the Bucks 104-93, and they're back to 11 games over 500 at 40-29. Mark Randy with you live from Splash at Thrive City. Back with more next on 95.7 The Game.
Draymond to Butler. Butler catches, takes a dribble, takes a three. It's up. He got fouled. He got fouled with .2 to go in the quarter.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Warriors wrap up here on 95.7 The Game. The Dubs knock off the Bucks 104-93, the final, and the Warriors make all of us forget about the disaster that was last night. They lose to the Nuggets, who were without Jokic and Murray and Brown and Strother, and they do that when they're essentially fully healthy other than Podziemski. They follow it up tonight by winning against the mostly healthy Bucks. Giannis played, Dame played, but they do it without Stephen Curry. Weird how the NBA season turns at some points, and the Warriors kind of make up for what last night was with their win tonight. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app. We're also streaming live on Twitch and YouTube, and everything we do there powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I'm keeping an eye on our YouTube chat. Plus, I've got our text line, and we got the callers pouring in as well at 888-957-9570. Going to head out to the phones in just a second. I see you, Roque. I'm going to get to you in just a minute. I did want to pick out something that I saw on our text line earlier today. The 925, JK was terrible, man. I just don't see it. The 415 adding on something interesting on top of that. I think JK just had a bad game today. He's more than capable of bouncing back. Sure, I am a bit disappointed he couldn't go at more of the Bucks defenders, but I've got more faith in him now. I think I'm with you, 415. Now, 925, you are right. Tonight was not pretty, but this isn't a game that makes me feel like Kuminga can't be impactful on this team right now, or that I think he can't be a quality player for the Warriors or for whichever team he's playing for down the stretch. This is just simply tonight it did not work. And if I can put myself in Kuminga's shoes, I mean, I think I understand it. He's a 22-year-old kid who I know has, been in the league for a while now, and most people 4 years into the NBA feel like they're a little bit further along in their development, although that's not really a knock on him. It's more of a knock of the situation that he's been in. And maybe you think that more of the blame falls, on the lap of Steve Kerr for maybe not giving him more consistent playing time before now. And I think a lot of that is fair. But tonight specifically was rough. But again, his first game back against the Kings, he fit the role perfectly. My major concern with Kuminga, if we're talking about tonight specifically, isn't that I don't think he's a quality player and that he can't do whatever the Warriors are asking him to do. It's that the pressures of everything else might make it more difficult than it should be. Jonathan Kuminga is entering restricted free agency. He's trying to get a bag. So many other players in his draft class have already gotten paid a ton of money. He's looking at that and he's wondering, when am I going to get my bag? He has the restricted tag on him, which means whatever offer he gets on the open market, the Warriors can match. And if they match, he is forced to sign with the Warriors. So Kuminga doesn't really have any leverage. The only leverage he has is he and his team trying to convince some other team that he deserves a lot of money. And if that is the only leverage that you have, how do you feel is the best way for you to go out and to prove that? You might prove to the Warriors that you're worth $35, $40 million a year. I think that's probably high, at least $40 million is. But if you go out and do what the Warriors are asking of you, which is not to be the primary creator, not to be the guy that is the driving force for you offensively, to be the guy that comes off the bench and plays 25 minutes a night, which is where he's been at essentially the last couple of games, and he scores 14 points off the bench, gets to the free throw line a couple of times, has a highlight dunk here or there, but is essentially more of a slasher and an off-the-bench scorer. Is that the way that you're going to convince somebody else to offer you the bag and therefore, in hand, force the Warriors to offer you the bag? I think in Kuminga's mind, the answer is an easy no. So my concern, again, isn't that Kuminga is not capable of doing what the Warriors need him to do. It's that what the Warriors need him to do and what he thinks and what the majority of young players think is going to get him a lot of money, those are two opposite things. And that's where my concern with Kuminga this season comes from. And honestly, if we break it down even a little bit further, it's a compliment. The way that I feel about Kuminga, and while I think there might be a little bit of friction, is the compliment to Kuminga, because it is purely based out of what his potential is and what he is capable of doing in this league. Like, if I didn't think Kuminga was capable of being a legitimate all-star at some point in his future, I wouldn't be that worried. But because I feel that way, I know Kuminga feels that way, and if Kuminga feels that way, then he knows he can do more than just be like a 12-point per game scorer off the bench, right? Like, he has so much more in his body than that. And that's where I think the question comes for me. Like, it's an entirely different conversation about Moses Moody. And this is not a knock on Moses Moody, but Moody doesn't have the high ceiling that Kuminga has. Moody might be maybe a more consistent player, and at least he has been a little bit of late. But because Moody's ceiling is drastically lower, I don't think he's putting the expectations on himself. And because he also has his contract right now, he's not putting that pressure on himself, while Jonathan Kuminga, I think, might get to a point where he is. And that is where I think we might see a little bit of clash in how this plays out. But for the most part, I am 100% confident that Kuminga can fill the role that the Warriors are asking of him. It's just a matter of whether he thinks that's also best for him. I think it is. I definitely think it is. But we'll see how it plays out over the Warriors' final 13 games of the regular season. Okay, 888-957-9570. Plus, we are going to hear from Steve Kerr coming up in just a little bit. But first, it's Roque in Alameda. What's up, Roque? You're on Warriors Wrap-Up. It's Mark Randy with you live from Splash. How you doing, Roque?
Hey, thank you, Mark. Hey, I want to start off right now with Kuminga, okay?
Okay.
And the pregnant foul he got intimidated there. I think this would be like a learning process for him. Okay, I know he's young. And this, I think, who was it? Trent Jr. He kind of caved him in his body there, and he got pissed off, and he just wrapped his arms around him and just threw him down. But it's one of those learning process, like I said. Okay, he's gonna learn from that, and I hardly see him. He's a quiet guy. Okay, and second, Jimmy G, his free throw is just, oh my God, it's out of the chart right now. 11 for 11. I mean, just imagine if he was off by 60%, everything could be changed. And also Draymond Green, the beginning of the game, I think it was a plan to dictate Antetokounmpo, put a pressure on him, and throw him off his game. That's what I saw right away. And between those three, Podzinski, Jimmy G, and Draymond Green, it was a good win. And that was great. Okay, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, appreciate it, Roque. I mean, I think you circled the right three there. They had huge impacts on this Warrior win. I think you said Jimmy G. Old habits die hard. Not Jimmy Garoppolo, but Jimmy B, unless I misheard you. But I know exactly what you're going for there, Roque. Yeah, Jimmy Butler is awesome, and he was amazing in this basketball game. He's had some good games as a Warrior. For my money, at least considering what was needed of him, this was his best game as a Warrior. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 6 of 13 from the field, plus 11 of 11 from the free throw line. He was really, really good in this basketball game, and when he sensed it was time for him to take over offensively, he took over. And that's what makes Jimmy Butler so special. He said it post-game on Saturday after the narrow win over the Knicks. When it's my time to score, you will know it, and I will do it. And that's what he did in the second half today. He had 12 points in the final quarter plus 2 seconds of this basketball game. And you might not think that's a ton. That's a 48-point pace over 48 minutes. He's scoring essentially a point a minute. And he was huge down the stretch. And by the way, if we look at the fourth quarter specifically, Jimmy Butler, let me pull this up so I can get it 100% accurate. In the fourth quarter, the Warriors made 9 field goals. Jimmy Butler made 3 of them and assisted on 4 others. So of the Warriors' 9 made field goals in the fourth, Jimmy Butler scored or assisted on 7 of them. There was no offense without Jimmy Butler. And I have some Warrior fans coming after me on Twitter because while the Warriors went on a 3-minute scoreless drought in that fourth quarter, I tweeted out, I'm not sure Jimmy Butler isolation is going to be enough for the Warriors to win this basketball game. And I got a bunch of people coming after me in the replies saying I was wrong. Jimmy Butler isolation means Jimmy Butler dribble, and tries to score. He had 4 assists, and 3 of them came down the stretch of this basketball game as the Warriors pulled out with the 8-0 run down the stretch. It was not Jimmy Butler dribbling, and putting the shot up himself. It was Jimmy Butler making the right move, kicking the ball to the right player, whether it was to Draymond, who then passed it to Podziemski one time, or it was Jimmy on the drive and the dish to GP2, or Jimmy on the drive and the kick to Podziemski for another 3. That was the right decision, and that does not qualify as Jimmy isolation basketball. That qualifies as Jimmy Butler drawing the defense and making the right decision. It was not enough Jimmy Butler isolation. That was not working down the stretch. He had to do the right basketball play, which was to kick the ball out, and it resulted in that 8-0 Warriors run, and that's why they win this basketball game 104-93. Back out to the phone lines we go. Telmo is in San Francisco, and he wants to add to this conversation. Telmo, what's up? You're on with Mark Randy here on Warriors Wrap-Up live from Splash. How you doing, Telmo?
Good, Randy. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Good game.
It was a good game. Here's the thing. I'm kind of tired of the narrative of Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga and the inconsistent minutes and this. Look, Moses Moody has been improving, steadily improving. And if anybody's been cheated of minutes or gotten inconsistent minutes, it's been him. Guy Santos got consistent minutes and sporadic minutes, and he's improving, and his game is tremendous. His game's grown by leaps and bounds. I think Jonathan Kuminga, we keep trying to shoehorn him into the Warriors and saying, well, he has to work because he's so physically gifted or he's so talented or has such a high ceiling that we have to shoehorn him and make him work. And when I honestly just don't think he works within the Warriors system and the style of basketball they play. And I'm not saying he won't be a great player or have that all-star potential that a lot of people think he has. But I'm like watching this game today, and even yesterday's game when he goes to the line and misses 2 free throws, and given, a lot of people were bad from the line yesterday. But he didn't have a good game yesterday. He had some good hustle plays, but not a great game. Today he had a terrible game, and I'm thinking to myself, I want more Guy Santos minutes. I want more GP2 minutes. So I'm asking you at this point, would you feel comfortable with the Warriors paying Jonathan Kuminga $30 million a year based on what we're watching?
It's a good question, Telmo, and appreciate the call. I will say tonight from the free throw line, he was 6 for 6, so he had that going for him tonight. And if he does that, if he can turn himself into like a 75% free throw shooter, it's going to, I think, change a lot of people's minds. But $30 million right now, would I feel comfortable doing that? Yeah, I think so, just simply for the fact that I don't want to let him leave. Now, maybe that's not the most the best ringing endorsement of Jonathan Kuminga, but if it came down to the Warriors paying Kuminga $30 million a year or him walking, I think I'm paying him the $30 million a year. I also think, and I hear you, Telmo, like the Moses Moody example is a fair one, and Moody's minutes have been even more inconsistent than Kuminga's, and look what Moody is doing now, and he's fitting into his role. I think a big part of it is the expectations of what those two players' ceilings are, and I think it's hard for someone like Kuminga, who has an absurdly high ceiling, to not necessarily limit himself, but to try to fill a role that he thinks not necessarily is beneath him. Like that's not fair to Kuminga, but maybe being asked to fill a role that he thinks doesn't quite I don't know, not challenge him enough isn't the right phrase, but you know what I mean? Like, he thinks he's capable of more than that. Not that Moody thinks otherwise, but Kuminga just has a different, I think, high point that he can reach, and I think that makes it a little bit difficult. Now, I'm also seeing this on our YouTube chat. I can't repeat the name over the air, and I hear you. We're being very critical of Jonathan Kuminga just 4 games back after he missed 2 months. Like, this is a really hard thing that Kuminga is trying to do. Even if Kuminga was playing and never got hurt, the adjustment for Kuminga to go from being like the guy on offense, remember pre-Jimmy Butler and before Kuminga got hurt, Jonathan Kuminga was option, like, not 1B behind Steph's 1A, but he was like clearly the second option on offense. And when Steph was off the floor, he was the top dog. That was Kuminga's responsibility, was go and get us 20 points every single night. We're going to give you the ball. We're going to let you ISO. We're going to let you attack mismatches. Kuminga, go score. We need you to. If you don't score, we will lose. If you score, we still might lose. And by the way, the Warriors were still losing, but they didn't stand a chance if he didn't score. Now he comes back after missing 2 months, and he is being asked to fill an entirely different role. In nowhere have I ever said this is an easy thing for Kuminga to do. It's not easy. I have told you time and time and time again, I think it's going to be difficult. I think there will be bumps in the road. And that is not a knock on Kuminga the player. It's just the reality of what this situation is. So I think we have to be patient. But to our YouTuber, who, again, the name I can't repeat, all I will say is you cannot deny tonight was rough. Tonight was rough for Jonathan Kuminga. Now, the Warriors are fine. They got the win. They're back in 6th in the Western Conference, and they hope that they get a better Kuminga going forward, and I am confident that they will. But tonight was rough. Like the Warriors, and I see this from Uncle Looney right now, the Warriors are asking Kuminga to rebound, to defend point of attack, and to cut at the right time off of drives by Jimmy, off of attention drawn by Steph. Cut at the right time, you will get dunk after dunk after dunk. And hey, you got a mismatch on you? You have Dame on you tonight? Call for the ball. We will ISO you. You will take him to task. You'll get to the free throw line. If not, you're going to score the basketball. Like, that is what is being asked of Kuminga. And it's entirely different of what he was being asked to do earlier before he got hurt. It's a difficult thing to shift. And then you have a night like tonight where Steph's out and Kuminga's being asked to fill the non-Jimmy Butler and the non-Steph minutes, and you go back to the pre-injury Kuminga where it was, okay, JK, go get yours. We need you. Carry us. Be the reason that this unit is successful. And it's a lot for a young player who's just coming back from an injury to go through. So this is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It shouldn't be easy, and it isn't. But he was bad tonight. No one is hiding from that, just like Steph wasn't hiding from the fact that he was bad last night. Like, this does not have to be a referendum on a guy's career. We can just say that he was bad tonight and say this is a learning experience and, he's got to be better going forward. And I feel confident that he will be. All right, 888-957-9570. Let's hear from Coach Kerr. Steve Kerr reacting to this Warriors win postgame at Chase Center. The Warriors knock off the Bucks 104-93. Here is the Warriors head coach talking Jimmy Butler, I'm sure. Probably talking some Draymond Green defense, talking big shots by Brandon Podziemski, and a whole lot more. Here's Warriors head coach Steve Kerr.
What went on in that 16-0 run you made end of third quarter, beginning of the fourth? What flipped there for you think?
I thought Jimmy's three-point play at the end of the quarter was a big one, getting fouled and knocking down the 3 free throws. And then, we felt good about that lineup that we put out there to start the fourth. It's been a great lineup for us. They really made a nice push. QP hit the big 3 from the corner. There's a good flow with that group and good two-way lineup. So they made a great run, and we were able to hold them off.
Steve, between Jimmy's sort of
rescue mission almost, and Draymond's defense on Giannis. I mean, which of those things do you think just led this victory here?
Well, either one is worth the headline. I mean, Draymond, that defense tonight on Giannis was incredible to hold him to 5 field goals. Draymond showed why he's still one of the great defenders in the world and why he's so important to winning night after night. I thought it wasn't just the defense, it was the leadership, it was the energy. It was such a professional effort by our guys, coming off of last night's loss, to respond the way they did, to put together a victory against a great team in a game we really needed. And but Jimmy, played the whole fourth and just took over the game. We ran every play through him down the stretch, and that's a big-time weapon to have.
Jimmy's kind of been hinting that, he could kind of break that out when needed. I mean, do you even have to have a conversation with them going into a game like this, or does he just...
No, he just knows. He's been telling you guys, I know, like when it's time, he'll do it. Tonight it was time. Last night in the comeback, he kind of took over, and so he just does whatever is necessary. And I think it's a good game for us to play actually without Steph, because it sort of forces the rest of the team to play a game without him, and to play through Jimmy, and to see what we've got. So, like I said, I thought it was a big-time win. Brandon played a huge role in it. Such an important stretch, down the stretch, knocking down those threes and offensive rebound. And you see what he means to our team, his anticipation, play after play at both ends. He just feels the game, and that's huge.
To follow on that, how quickly did you notice his comfort tonight, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, he looked strong, and I think sometimes if you have a midseason injury, it keeps you out a week or two. You come back really strong because you're already in really good shape, but you get a little bit of a rest, and you come back with a lot of force and energy, and you could see it from him right away. So it's great to see, and hopefully, we're able to sustain, the health, and we can ramp up his minutes. And it was fun to watch him play tonight.
You mentioned Post with that group to start the fourth. Looked like a little bit of a high wire act with him. Some turnovers, but he hit some good shots. Is it just a matter of hanging in there for him in a game like this?
Well, he gives us the spacing that we need for Jimmy to drive, for Draymond to drive. He's not just a spot-up shooter. He's tough. He's physical. So I believe in Quentin, and I think we're better, when he's out on the floor for those reasons. So he had some big shots for us tonight. He had a couple turnovers, but he's still learning the NBA and feeling his way through things, but I love how confident he is, and he's helped us win a lot of games this year.
All right, there's Steve Kerr post-game earlier tonight after the Warriors knock off the Bucks. Again, the final score 104-93. Talking about Draymond's defense. Draymond was awesome defensively in this game, and I know that he was talking about that post-game. Draymond Green, a few quotes here from Draymond in his post-game presser on potentially winning Defensive Player of the Year. Draymond said, quote, "I want another one." Draymond added, quote, "especially with Wemby going down, it seemed like he had it won. Now it's right there." And Draymond continued, quote, "1,000,000%, I have a case, and I'll continue to build that case." He built that case tonight. What Draymond did, and it wasn't, of course, it's not single-handedly. No team defends Giannis single-handedly. But Draymond was the primary defender for the vast majority of Giannis's 38 minutes and 53 seconds. Draymond played 36 minutes and 9 seconds. Essentially, every second that Draymond was on the floor for, he was defending Giannis. That leaves a little less than 3 minutes where somebody else was the primary defender. And, of course, you have help even when Draymond is the primary defender. But what he did to Giannis today was absolutely incredible. It's so much more difficult to identify a great defensive game because you don't have easy statistics. You can look at steals and blocks, but steals and blocks don't always necessarily mean good defense, especially steals. Oftentimes, the league leader in steals are just players that play incredibly aggressive along the perimeter and get back cut to death. But every once in a while, someone throws an ill-advised pass, and because they're so aggressive on the perimeter, they'll get a steal. Like, steals do not necessarily translate to great defense. It's difficult. You have to really dive into and watch what these guys are doing on the post to really appreciate what a really awesome defender is. And, like, when you see Steph have a Steph game, right? Like, in Orlando in the road trip where he scores 56 points and he hits the nearly three-quarter court shot to beat the halftime buzzer. Like, that is an otherworldly Steph performance on offense. Not saying that what Draymond did tonight is equal to Steph scoring 56, but what Draymond did tonight is similar to, like, those otherworldly Steph offensive games. Draymond was otherworldly defensively today. And it was one of the best defensive halves I've seen him play in a really long time. And he has some amazing defensive halves or defensive games under his belt. He was amazing in this game. Giannis scored 20 points in 39 minutes on 16 shots. He was 5 for 16 from the field, 10 of 15 from the free throw line. If it wasn't for the free throw line, and again, the free throw line is a very big part of what he does, but if it wasn't for the free throw line, only 5 for 16 from the field, Draymond absolutely limited him as good as anybody can. Draymond was awesome in this game. All right, a few more minutes with you here on Warriors Wrap-Up, live from Splash, which is closing up for the night. Pleasure being here, as always, here at Splash at Thrive City, the newest sports bar and restaurant just outside the arena, just outside of Chase Center. This is on the west side of Chase. Let's go back out to the phone lines, though. 888-957-9570. Steel Toe is in San Mateo. Steel Toe, what's up? You're on Warriors Wrap-Up with Mark Grandy. How you doing, Steel Toe?
Doing great, Grandy. Thank you for taking my call. Yeah, that was a beautiful, hard-fought game with Draymond and Butler working together. You know, the game today, yeah, was kind of pretty tough, and we were waiting for Kuminga, and that's pretty much the big topic tonight. And yeah, I kind of agree with Steve Kerr now after we just saw tonight. You cannot have Kuminga take minutes away from G. Santos. Gary Payton now is shooting threes. Even Brandon Pajemski, he was injured for a while, missed some time, and he still has some chemistry coming back. You can't force Kuminga. He cannot take minutes from everybody that was doing great and got this 15 games winning here in the last month. He can't ruin the chemistry here. I thought he could blend in and get a chemistry because everybody plays smart, but he hasn't get it yet. And G. Santos and Gary Payton and everybody, even Moses, cannot lose minutes for Kuminga to learn. Everybody's on point now. He's the only one out, and everybody's got to pick it up because it's playoff time. We know what's up. All right. Thank you, Grandy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Steel Toe. I want to be careful that I mean, this isn't like pile on Jonathan Kuminga night. Like, that's not what this is. But Steel Toe is onto something because this is a Warrior team that now has plenty to lose, right? Like, we go back to before J.K. got hurt, and the Warriors were in the middle of an incredibly rough stretch of basketball, and they were staring at, like, maybe being the 10 seed and feeling relatively happy about that as their reality. They were just hoping to make the play-in, right? And, of course, they felt like they had to make a move, and who knows what that move was going to be and how impactful it was going to be. But when you're in that kind of situation and you're just, like, hoping and praying that you can get a win tonight, like, there's a little bit less pressure to get a great performance from Kuminga because, like, if you throw Kuminga out there for 30 minutes, even though he's not having a great game, what is he really costing you? You know what I mean? Like, it's easier to put Kuminga out there and to play him and to let him play through some struggles, even though he wasn't really struggling then. But, like, in this hypothetical, when you are struggling as a team and you don't really have a recourse and you don't have a pivot, like, okay, just throw your young, talented guy out there. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, we don't really have anything else to turn to, so we're going to keep playing that card over and over and over again, right? Like the opportunity cost of playing and not playing Kuminga, it's almost non-existent because you don't have a better option. But what the Warriors have now with Jimmy Butler and with Podziemski playing the way he's playing and with Moody playing the way that he's playing, and as Steel Toe pointed out, the way GP2 is hitting threes. And while Guy Santos didn't do anything special today, what Guy Santos has done the last 3 weeks now, you have a legit opportunity cost. And oh, by the way, you have a direct, you look at the standings, there's an immediate result, either positively or negatively, whether you win or lose. If the Warriors lost tonight, they would be the 8th seed. And I don't think it's lost on any of you out there, smartest listeners in basketball right here on 95.7 The Game. Who did Steve Kerr throw out there to close the basketball game? Not Jonathan Kuminga. And that is not Steve Kerr saying I don't believe in him. That's him saying tonight, JK doesn't have it. We're going elsewhere because we need to win this basketball game. Because we need to win this basketball game, and the Warriors won this basketball game. So all I am saying is when you get into a situation like tonight, because the Warriors have so much to lose, again, you lose tonight, you're the 8th seed, and you're staring at maybe being a road team in the play-in. When we've been talking about the Warriors maybe climbing to the 4 seed. That's how real this is and how important every single game is for the Warriors. There is legitimate, immediate ramifications on if you mess up. You make one single mistake and you lose a basketball game as a result. Steve Kerr is not here to try to make somebody happy, to try to play someone the minutes they feel like they deserve, and to try to help them get the contract that they want. Steve Kerr is here to win basketball games, and if he feels that Kuminga is not the best option on a particular night, I guarantee you he will not hesitate to not play him down the stretch like he did tonight. But on the flip side, if Kuminga's having a great game like he did against the Kings when he returned, he will close with Kuminga. It's relatively simple and straightforward. The Warriors now have plenty to lose. And as a result, it makes it more difficult to play someone, no matter who it is. Kuminga is just the hot button topic around here. It makes it more difficult to play someone through those struggles because, one, you have other options, and two, you immediately have ramifications if it doesn't work out. It's that simple. It is not that difficult. That is the situation that the Warriors are facing. But the Warriors won this basketball game 104-93, and they improved to 40-29, and they're back to 6th by themselves in the Western Conference. Okay, let's wrap up here in just a second. I will take you through the meaningful scores around the NBA hint for the Warriors. The only important game other than this was the one that happened down in LA, the Clippers hosting the Cavs. If you have not heard that result, I'll tell you in just a little bit. But before we get on out here and before we do that, let's get to Crashing the Boards, which is brought to you by Chilton Auto Body, the Bay Area leader in collision repair. For the Warriors tonight, leader on the glass, Draymond Green. Draymond did all of the dirty work tonight, limited Giannis to only 20 points on 5 of 16 shootings. 5 of 16 shooting from the field, and Draymond also the only Warrior with double-digit rebounds. He had 10 boards tonight, and this one to go with just 3 points, but also 4 assists and a couple of steals. He was awesome. Also 4 blocks for Draymond. He was awesome in this game. Those 10 boards, though, gets him the honor of crashing the boards, which is brought to you by Chilton Auto Body, the Bay Area leader in collision repair. Our thanks to Chilton, as always, for sponsoring this segment. Draymond Green, 10 boards. He gets the honor of crashing the boards. Again, brought to you by Chilton Auto Body. Okay. Warriors win 104-93. They're back to 11 games over 500 at 40-29. The other meaningful result from around the league for the Warriors' purposes, only one of the game matters, and that was Cleveland in LA versus the Clippers. The Clippers win 132-119. The Cavs scored 45 points in the first quarter. Then they went 28, 29, and 17 over the final 3. The Clippers shut them down in the final 3, and they run away with this in the fourth quarter, 132-119. So with that win, the Western Conference standings now look like this. OKC, of course, by themselves in first, 12.5 up on everybody else. Houston and Denver tied for 2, 12.5 behind OKC. A game behind those teams for 4, 5. For 4 and 5 are the Lakers and the Grizzlies. They're 1 game behind both those teams. Then the Warriors slide in at the 6th spot, 3 games behind the Lakers and the Grizz. Warriors at 40 and 29. Because the T-Wolves were idle today, the Warriors now a half game up on the T-Wolves, who are 40 and 30. So the Warriors a half game advantage over Minnesota. Minnesota's 8-game winning streak was snapped last night when Indiana, without their 3 best players in Halliburton and Siakam and Turner, did not play, yet the T-Wolves still lost that game. Warriors, though, responded by losing to the Jokic and Murray-less Nuggets at home last night, so those two teams kind of traded awkward results. But the T-Wolves idle today. The Warriors win. Warriors now a half game ahead of the T-Wolves, and they stay a full game ahead of the Clippers, who won today again versus the league best, at least record-wise, Cleveland Cavaliers. Awkwardly, the Cavaliers have now lost 2 consecutive games after they won 4 games in a row. Cleveland and OKC now tied for the best records in the league at 56 and 12. But the Clippers, a game behind the Warriors. And how important this game was today for the Warriors. If the Warriors had lost, they would be the 8. The T-Wolves would be the 7, and the Clippers... the T-Wolves would be the 6 and the Clippers would be the 7, because the Warriors would have an identical record to the Clippers, and the Clippers would have the tiebreaker. They do have the tiebreaker. So important for the Warriors to get this win today, to not only stay or to move themselves above the T-Wolves, but to also stay above the Clippers. The Warriors are holding on to that 6th seed right now, but there's not much room behind them. If they had lost, they would have been the 8th seed. That's how important this game was tonight for the Golden State Warriors. All right, Warriors victorious. Again, the final score 104-93. Coming up next for the Warriors, they close out the 7-game homestand with the Toronto Raptors on Thursday. Tip time is set for 7, which means our coverage begins at 6 here on 95.7 The Game. And then they head out on the road. Atlanta, Miami, New Orleans, San Antonio, Memphis, and the Lakers before they return home. And they only got a few more games left in the regular season. How about this? The Thursday game against Toronto to close out this homestand is the Warriors' 5th last regular season home game this year. Only 5 more home dates at Chase Center, and at this point, there's no guarantee there is any kind of postseason action at Chase Center. The Warriors still have to earn that right. They took a big step in that direction with the win today without Stephen Curry. They can go 6-1 on this homestand, which for me would be important. I said 5-2 should be the Warriors' goal on this homestand. 5-2 would be par. Anything less would be a bogey. 6-1 would be a birdie, and that's what the Warriors have in front of them against the Raptors. I would imagine Steph will play. Seems like it will be a fully healthy Warrior team. If Steph is going to play, I imagine Podziemski's going to play again because he got through this game no problems. Warriors should have a fully healthy team coming up against the Toronto Raptors on Thursday. And if they win that, it's a 6-1 homestand, and the Warriors will go out on the road feeling pretty darn good about themselves. All right, that'll do it for Warriors wrap-up tonight. Thanks, as always, to Splash for hosting me. Splash, close down for the night. Don't stop by now, but the best spot in the city to take in a Warrior game, home or away, if you don't have tickets, to take in tournament action. If you are a sports lover, you got to check this place out. It is awesome. Splash at Thrive City, west side of the arena, right outside of Chase. And before and after every Warrior home game, we're here. So you can stop by and say what's up to us, whether it's Evan or myself. A lot of fun here at Splash at Thrive City. Thanks as well to all of you, the listeners, both on the radio if you're driving home from Chase and on our YouTube feed. Appreciate all of you. And thanks as well to Steven Risotto and my guy Cam Williams behind the glass, making me sound all good here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. All right, that'll do it for us tonight. A late night edition of Warriors Wrap-Up. Appreciate all you for sticking with me. We'll be back on Thursday for more Warriors basketball. Warriors Raptors Thursday at 7. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 here on 95.7 The Game. Thanks for listening and have a good night. I'll talk to you next time on 95.7 The Game.